se usimemile, wosapela usondele.
Welcome. Welcome.
What a tune. I hope everyone listening to it is going to know exactly what we're going to be discussing. Our cultures are like diamond. They are like precious resources. This evening on the big question, myself and Lola, we're asking you a very basic question. Is our culture being devalued? Someone will ask, what an animal is that? Hmm. Right, enough of the tune. I'll bring you the music back. It's one song that I love so much and I don't want to stop playing it. And if I continue that, I'll be selfish. And I don't think listeners and our viewers want that. And I don't think Lola here is going to be happy with me either. So let me cut the music and let's move straight to the business of the day. My name is Frank Davis, and this show, the program Big Questions, comes your way each and every Tuesday, just after the personality profile show. By the way, what a wonderful program that was with Lucy. Lucy, thank you very much, and Francis Brown, the best animator across the whole of Africa, grazing our studios with a big thank you for coming on board. This evening, I have with me Lola Idris, who is I call a guest stroke co-host of this program, if you want to call it that way. Lola, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Good.
And I'm going to be questioning you now. We're questioning how are we doing it. How was your day?
It was alright.
But you're looking beautiful this evening, though.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, good.
So are you?
I'm doing well. My joy is to wake up, come here, and we serve our listeners and our viewers.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the topic today.
Yeah,
It's quite
once
a good
I'm
one.
able to do that, I mean, my day has been made. And once God grants me the grace to see another second, to be able to bring this program and Star Radio to our listeners, why not? I'm happy. That's what I live for now. Mm.
Tuesdays are my favorite day of the week.
They are your favorite. Tell me why.
Because of the show, obviously.
No, because
Yeah.
the show.
Mm.
I like that. And this evening, what are we looking? I want you to introduce a topic. What are we looking at?
So it's quite a bold question. We're looking at, has the African culture been devalued? Is the youth losing connection with their African roots and identity?
If you speak up for me a little bit, so if you take it, so we're looking at. You said about identity is the African youth
Yes, the youth specifically.
Losing what?
Losing touch with their roots.
Okay, I
and
like that. But let's do a bit of let's define the terrain on which we're going to play. Because if we say African youth, are we referring to those in the diaspora? Are we referring to the African youth in general? What are we looking at?
We're defining the African youth in general.
In general.
So we're looking at those that have been born and raised outside of Africa, or perhaps they have been born in Africa, but they've spent the majority of their lives in European countries, the UK, France, wherever it may be, and as a result of that, their connection to their original homeland is not so strong, and it's starting to become a weak.
And probably we also extend it to look at what is happening even on the African continent, within the African countries, because to a large extent, we see a lot of people who are actually importing foreign culture, doing things that they think are the best cultures out there, importing them, although they might not have traveled. They live in Nigeria, they live in Ghana, they live in Zimbabwe, but they still want to practice or do things that are not in conformity with their culture. So those are the issues that we're going to be looking at. So listeners, you're welcome to join us. Our phone lines are 0208133257. That's 0208133257 or 58. If you're actually going to join us from the US or Canada, it's 001-718-303-2737. I take that number again. That's the code +1 718 3032737, and on WhatsApp globally it's +44 And if you'd like to join us on our Twitter, it's at Starr Radio, Facebook, Starr Radio UK. And please, if you follow us on Facebook, please share our link with your friends, invite your friends, and want to get your contribution. Olayomi Kweki, thank you very much. Olayomi will be coming your way tomorrow with Niger Voices. They look at stories that are making news in Nigeria, invite guests, and I think tomorrow has a very important special guest, and they're going to be talking a lot more about issues happening in Nigeria politics as we speak, and also look at within our community what is going on. So tomorrow exactly at 7 o'clock, Quakey will be here. You don't have to miss that show. If you like to want to send us an email, it's info@starradiouk.com. info@starradiouk.com. This morning I received a couple of messages, people asking about our website. Place is still under construction. We're revamping it. It used to be up. We pulled it down to revamp it because we want to bring you something better, something that will save your interest best. But we promise you within the next 2 weeks, our website, our new and revamped website will be up to serve you best. But for now, please follow us on Facebook page. Listen to us on Z Live. If you have a smart TV, you can go to Smart View TV and you watch us live over there. You can also follow us on Streamer. We're also live over there. And pretty soon we'll be going on other platforms, and we'll bring those announcements to you as and when we activate those platforms. From next week, we should be live again on Daily Motion, and you can catch us live over there. But again, the announcements will be in. Lola.
Frank.
Right. We're looking at a very important topic, and for me, this topic is personal because I look at it as something that has to do with our very survivor. When you talk of a culture of a people, it goes very deep. Either we're losing, or most of us are losing understanding of what we really mean by our culture, or we do not understand it at all, or probably our interaction with other culture, modernity, or is actually pushing us, or pushing our culture, or drawing us away from our culture, which has to do a lot about our identity. Yep. So as a person, this topic is a very very, very deep one for me. If I ask you first, what in your view will you define as culture?
Culture is the unified
value. Yeah.
Culture is the unified values, morals, and beliefs that a community holds as one. And it's very important that you identify strongly with your culture. You know exactly what it is. So knowledge is the first step, and then also having the ability to actually experience that culture and understand that culture and be able to pass on to the next generation. Because if the culture stops here now with the current generation, then it won't get moved on to the next generation, and the culture will eventually be whitewashed and disappear.
So basically what you're saying, culture is a way a group of people live. Right. The other thing that we need to understand again, listeners, that culture is not static. So we know over here, I actually just want us to define the terrain on which we're going to play, so that when we get into the main conversation, people will be able to understand where we're coming from. So one, we're saying, and if you listen to what Lola just said, basically she's zeroing that a culture is the way a group of people live. And I'm adding that, yes, if it's the way a group of people live, culture is not static, but it's dynamic. Which means that, okay, you want to come in?
Yeah, the way a group of people think, behave, and interact.
Yes, yeah. And it's very dynamic in the sense that if you take years back, we didn't have a mobile phone. But today we have a mobile phones, and therefore the way we interact, the way we communicate traditionally, the technology would have had an impact on it. And therefore, that doesn't mean that we should lose sight of what we used to do, but to a large extent, how do we as a people, embrace our technology, make it fit for purpose for our culture? And the very question we're asking this evening is our culture losing its value? Lola, what do you think? Is our culture losing its value?
Well, I really wanted to touch on this because I thought it was a very bold but important question that needs to be asked.
Okay.
If our generation is going to lead this social revolution in Africa, then we need to understand our culture.
Let me stop you over there. You made mention of generation. If you talk of your generation, can you give me a perspective in terms of age bracket that we're talking about over here?
Yes, the youth of Africa, the next leaders of Africa. So
the next leaders of Africa, and we're looking at the age between.
Yeah, so right from infancy through to adolescence. So I'm thinking 0 to 30-year-olds.
0 to 30 years old.
The people who are going to be
to 45 that way.
45, okay.
Because Kweki is watching, I think he's 45 and he's impacted with this. So I think we're standing. But let's listen to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if that social revolution is going to happen, it can only happen if there is a strong resonance with our culture. So as someone who was born in the UK but lived in Nigeria for 4 years, I do understand how you can start to develop a disconnect with where you originally come from, that being through to not living there, not visiting there regularly. For some people, they don't know the language. Some people, they don't know the food. Unless someone else makes it for them. The entertainment as well, they're not familiar with. So I think trying to make sure that we start to actually enjoy and celebrate what our culture has is really important, because I don't think that's happening right now.
Most often than not, when people talk about culture, they tend to zero it down to just a few bits. I know we cannot exhaust all over here, but we want to pick on a few things and look at the changes and the dangers that we face in those areas.
Okay.
You spoke about the fact that music, food,
language,
which
is a very important one.
Because for each culture, there must be certain unique aspects of it. That's why it should be different from other cultures. Certain values, it has to have an authentic identity. And those identities are defined by what are or things that are unique about that very particular culture. So language comes in here, where language actually you understand what that means?
Yeah, good try.
You can try. It means morning. Is it Yoruba or?
Yeah, it's Yoruba.
Yoruba, right. So Okare.
Ekaro.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So I am trying. So it zeroes you down to a geographical location. And if you go to the Yorubas, they will have certain unique aspects about their culture.
In comparison to Igbo, Hausa, Delta State, Edo.
The topic is very, very big. So I want to propose that we look at the UK, the western part of it today, and probably another time, if there's time, we'll move to we'll look at that, other we can chip it in. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to break it down, because it's not something we just want to brush past. It's a very important topic.
Okay.
So yeah, if we split it in that way. And also, we haven't made any mention of Caribbean and Jamaican culture.
Okay.
But we are including that in this discussion.
Yeah, so we're actually looking at the Africans and the Caribbeans as a group.
Yes.
And whether we're losing our culture. And at this point, I would like to invite our listeners, please. This is a very important topic to us. If you're listening to us, we would like you to join in this conversation.
Yeah, open floor discussion.
Yeah, it's a broad discussion. We're here to learn, and we are availing ourselves to be educated on what culture is really about, and whether to a large extent we're losing our culture. I have a very important person who is watching all the way from Ghana. That's Sophia Lamte, watching all the way from Ghana. We have a call coming in. Let's see. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Hi. Okay, and we lost a person. We had a call coming all the way from Ghana, but we've lost a person.
shame.
But that's fine. We'll proceed. And now, Let's zero it out. You are, let me call it this way: a young lady, grown up, born, went to Nigeria a little bit. Or listen, let me get a bit of water.
Brace yourself.
Now, so basically, your adult life, you spend most of it. I'm not going to disclose your age, but if I work it out, over 2/3 or 75% of your life, you've spent it in the UK.
Yes, that's why this topic is so important to me, because I feel slightly as if I am losing my identity and my Nigerian culture, because it's not something I'm regularly in touch with. So my last trip to Nigeria was in 2015, and even going there I felt slightly like a stranger. Before 2015 I hadn't been there since 1999, so it'd been 16 long years, and going back I felt a bit like a fish out of water. I didn't feel like I really belonged, and people could tell instantly that I wasn't originally from there, which I don't know how, but I'm sure there's telltale signs. And I did feel a bit like a stranger in my own environment. Okay,
so if I ask you that, the direct question that we're asking ourselves and our listeners today, is our culture being devalued? And if we talk about devalued, let me come to you. Is our culture being devalued?
I think so, yes. Amongst the younger generation.
Amongst the younger generation.
The older generation are very strongly resonating with their culture. It's something that's still personally kept close to them. But with younger Africans and children, I don't believe that they are being brought up in a way where they're appreciating, celebrating African culture. For instance, plenty of African children nowadays, probably the majority, do not know how to speak their language.
Okay, so language is one that you think we're losing touch of, right?
Which is really unfortunate. There's usually a surprise when people find out I can speak Yoruba, and I don't think that should be the reaction. That should be something that every African child is brought up with at home. Every parent should be speaking their mother tongue to their children. English, French, all these other languages, obviously they're good to know, and they're the language of school and when you go into work. But at home, in the house, we should be speaking African languages. There's no reason we shouldn't be.
Right, that is another problem that we're looking at, because if we're saying African people should be speaking their language, authentic native dialects and language in their homes, that is in the UK over here.
Everywhere,
you know, when you go to the education system over here, you don't have those languages. Although I might say Somalis, the Bangladeshis, the Indians have actually succeeded in ensuring that their languages, now you go to councils and their languages, they can even get to an interpreter. Okay?
So Somalians are Africans, Frank. They're East Africans.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
They've actually succeeded in doing that. But
and they're an example. That's who we should be looking up to. Somalians have managed to maintain their language. They haven't sacrificed their language so their children can speak English. I understand the importance of making sure your child can speak English when they go to school. But when I was young, my mum and dad spoke both Yoruba and English to us at home. So when I went to school, yes, I could speak English, but I also knew exactly how to speak Yoruba on the flip side. Okay, so can you, if you want to grade yourself how you speak Yoruba on a scale of 1 to 10, where will you place yourself? I'm going to be very honest. I'm not going to pretend. It's not perfect. It's not a 10 at all. Okay. I'd say I'm a 6.5, which is a shame. This is also why this devaluing topic is really important to me. I feel like when I was younger, my mum and dad were very, very particular about making sure we could speak the language, because they could see that parents around their age weren't teaching children the language. So up to about 12, I'd say, it was something at home that was very strict. We were actually told to never respond in English and always make sure we responded in Yoruba when spoken to in Yoruba. But as we've grown older and gone off to do our own things, gone to university, we've lost touch of what was ingrained at home. And now my Yoruba is not as forthcoming as it was. Because we learn within the society as well. Yeah. Now, the other thing that I'm going to ask you, I apologize for this, but I'm going to put the whole topic on you. And we're going to use you as a subject to discuss what we are talking about today, which I think is very, very important. Now, if you look at the aspect of, I asked you whether you can speak Yoruba fluently, and you honestly graded yourself 6.5. Probably I'll give you 6. Yeah, if we're gonna round it to the nearest point, it would actually be a 7.
It will be okay.
Yeah.
I'll agree to that and give you 6.55.
Okay, I'll
Now
go with
let
that.
me look at it this way. Do you think your children are going to be able to speak Yoruba the way you are speaking it?
I'm determined. So part of my plan for the future is to go back to Nigeria, live there.
Okay.
So
Hold on.
throughout that time,
Hold
I
on.
will
Don't go to the plane yet. Don't buy your travel ticket yet.
All right.
Let me just zero down. You plan to get married.
Yeah.
Would that affect? Is that going to influence how you choose a life partner?
The fact that I want my children to speak Yoruba.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I can't.
Okay, so
I can't
hold
narrow
on.
it down to I must marry a Yoruba
You
partner.
can't narrow it down to you must marry an Yoruba man.
Yeah.
Which means that you follow your heart where it goes, right? So let's assume you marry an Indian.
Very random.
Okay, fine.
No, we can take that example. It could
Okay,
happen.
so
Who knows?
So what is the likelihood that your children are going to speak Yoruba?
A very strong,
Mind you, your language we've lost 40%.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my fear. Yeah.
That
I
is
can
your-
see exactly where you're going with this question. If I can only speak it 60% well, and the partner I'm with can speak it 0% well, my children only have a 60% chance of grasping the language.
Yeah.
Are they even going to be exactly that 60%? Will it even be 60% by the time I get married? Will it have become 30%? Very important questions. And I think what's important is, I'm not saying you must marry this person, you must marry that person to maintain the culture, but you must make an active decision to try and maintain that culture yourself. So as I am now, I can start making sure that when I am at home, I'm making more of a conscious effort to speak Yoruba. Or even if I'm not at home, if I'm with other people who are from Nigeria and I know they can understand Yoruba, try and speak Yoruba.
We'll be coming to some specific as to how, in our view, we think the bit of research we've done, what we can do to help it. Okay, we'll be coming to...
The very best solution is, please, parents, I'm not saying this is all your fault, but
You hold on, we'll be coming to that. Let's explore what problem is posing the threats to the very existence and the continuity of our culture. If we're able to understand the dynamics of what we face as a society, then if we don't understand the problem, we're not going to be able to find solutions to them.
No.
The definition and identification of problem is the first solution to a problem. Right.
Yep.
So, I've just used example of you getting married probably to an Indian, getting married to probably a Ghanaian who does not speak an Euro, who
That
does
will
not
never
speak
happen,
Euro-
Frank.
who
I'm
does
not marrying a Ghanaian.
Okay, well, that's totally accepted. Okay.
Just
Once you
joking.
can, let's take an Indian that you not marry a Ghanaian, you marry okay, let's say South Africa.
Okay.
Who's South African, right? So basically, I'm trying to say that you marry someone who does not speak Yoruba. Take it that way, and therefore the chances and the possibility of the two of you communicating in that one aspect of your culture, the language, which is the key ID or signature to every culture that geographically defines who you are when you come for. Although language can be learned from different cultures, association, deliberate actions of trying to learn people, and other anthropologists do that, cultural anthropologists do that. What I'm trying to point out is the possibility of you not marrying someone from your own tribe.
Yep.
One, because you do not live within that environment, because your life partners are and will definitely come from your social networks or your family social networks. I'm not saying the people we meet on the street, it could be on Facebook, it could be on Instagram, it could be on Snapchat. They are still your social network. There must always be a connection somewhere. It could be a dating site. I don't want to go there. But I'm saying is that people have gotten married from dating sites.
Yeah.
Yes, but all I'm saying is that the likelihood that you marry someone who's not an Yoruba is very high.
50-50.
Okay,
Yeah.
so should it be that you marry that person?
No. So maintaining our culture does not mean that we have to be restricted.
That
And
is, we're only taking out one aspect. We come to other aspects. We're going to look at different. I'm just pinning down So we don't have to rush it. We want to look at the dangers that we face as a people.
Yep.
And the things that we do that are, one, devaluing our cultures, and two, pose danger to our culture. And then we'll move on to look at what can we do, even in the midst of all these threats.
Yep.
How can we navigate our way through them?
Yes.
Okay.
How can we survive?
You can survive.
Yeah.
Okay, so fine. You've married someone who is an Indian.
Okay.
How do you hope? How do you plan to be able to ensure that you pass on the language Yoruba to your kids? Tell me.
There's no doubt that it will be difficult because you're not working as two people trying to teach your children language. You're working on your own, and your partner may be trying to teach Indian. Maybe, what do they speak? Punjabi to your children.
Yeah.
So it's completely down to you, and you have to make that conscious effort to teach that language and pass on the language. So it has to be something you want to do, which is why it's really important to feel connected to the culture. Because if you feel connected to the culture and you appreciate the language, then you also want your children to appreciate it. If you're quite dismissive towards it or just nonchalant, you're not too bothered, then you're not going to make that conscious effort to teach them the language, and they won't learn the language.
Okay, now the next thing I want to ask you that, can you just imagine from the look of things the danger that your children face? Because at the end of the day, I am an Indian man. We are married. I want to teach my kids also how to speak the
Punjabi.
Indian language.
Yep.
And therefore, you're pushing them to Yoruba. I'm pushing them to the Indian language. I'm an Indian, but I don't understand it, and I can't speak it. So, as a kid within that family setting, can you just imagine what the child is going to go through?
I don't think that is putting the child at a disservice. I think that's putting the child at a benefit. They've got children pick things up the easiest. Learning a language when you're a child is when it's the best time to do it. So that child can easily pick up the two languages.
They can easily pick it up, but we're talking about devaluing. Mean that if you at this level are at 60% or 70, let me be generous, 70%, right? Can you write the language?
No.
You can't write it. So you have lost a key aspect of that language. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 50% of Yoruba is gone out of you. You can speak it, you can't write it. Although the sound, because of education, the tonation and that thing, if you want to write it, okaro, you might be able to put some words together which sounds like that. But they might not be. Can you read the alphabet in Yoruba?
Yeah.
Can you read the alphabet?
Yeah.
You can read the alphabet. Good. So well, 65%.
Yeah, I could try to write it, but it would not be something that would come naturally.
It means that on a scale of 1 to 10, your children are also likely to lose about 50% of what you know. So we devalue. Can you see the scale of devaluing?
Yeah, so they may perhaps only receive about 30%.
About 30%. And then your grandchildren will end up
15%. And then my great-grandchildren, 7.5%.
Okay. That is only the language aspect that we look at. Now, let me take a second aspect. We'll take 2, 3, then we'll come back to few ways that research has proven that if we are able...
Before we move on from language,
yeah.
Would you say that Africans should be remaining within their tribes for marriage? Is that the solution?
Let me give you a personal assessment of what I think. I believe marriage is something between two consented adults. And if marriage revolves around someone being happy, even if they meet someone from space and they are comfortable and happy with them, so be it.
We should open this up to people to say their comments.
Right. Some people will also traditionally say that I don't want to move out of my culture to marry. And therefore... We
see that a lot with the Chinese, we see that a lot with the Arabs, and they do have a very high
those are
resonation
some of the
with their
things
culture.
that will be coming to our solutions.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, are we going to get to a point where what the Jewish do? You don't go to a Jew and see them marry, hardly will you see a Jew marrying out of their tribe. Hardly will you see a Chinese marrying out of their tribe.
Or an Arab.
Those people who can marry out of their, a lot of are we the blacks, and if you take this community, the British and the actual Europeans, we are able to marry from other cultures other than us. But when you look at the Indians, they always want to go with India. That's why when you look at the Indian society, to a point, we see this kind of honor killings.
But that's extreme, and that's not something we're
Right,
saying Africa
that's
and the
it.
Caribbean should be doing.
Yes, that's extreme, but you can just imagine and understand to a large extent why some of them do those things.
I don't understand it.
You don't understand
No,
it.
not at all.
Barbaric as it may sound, but you can understand. I do understand, although I don't accept it and I will never agree with it. Okay, and especially when the children have been born and bred in this country, they've associated, educated themselves, mixing and getting to know other people from different tribes. Are you getting me? If they fall in love with someone else and want to marry the person, from in my view, so be it. Okay, so be it. But they also face a challenge as parents. Do they maintain that, and to what extent are they going to be able to keep the sacred culture that they want to protect?
Yeah.
Now let's come to food.
Food.
Tell me, what do you think about food? In terms of, because food forms part of our culture. Okay,
big
so
part.
tell me, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, I love Nigerian food. I love authentic Nigerian food. Other than, when sometimes it can be a bit too spicy, and then I get called an oyibo when I can't handle the spice. But I do love Nigerian food. Just they need to tone the spice down a bit usually.
Okay, now hold on. We got a comment coming from beautiful Sophia all the way in Ghana. I think listeners on Facebook, I think we're having a little bit of a problem with our Facebook link, but it will be restored. I think it's been restored. Yes, I think it's been restored. Yes, it's been restored. So let me just go to a bit of comment that we have. We have Sophia Lamte all the way from Ghana, who says, how can couples in cross-cultural relationship or marriages manage their cultural differences as well as promoting their diverse culture among themselves? That's a very powerful question. And she got, can we then look at how couples in their intercultural cross-cultural marriages? Culture is everything that defines a society and a nation at large, from our beliefs, language, food, costumes, ideals, values, principles, pride, etc. A nation that has embraced it fully and willing to pass on to generations yet unknown has a great future. That is what is coming from Sophia. And that's what I was telling you. The culture is so broad, and we're not going to be able to tackle all the aspects. And I think next week we might continue on this topic. Now, if you look at the first thing Sophia is asking, how can couples in cross-cultural relationship, like the example we're giving,
Nigerian
Indian and a Nigerian, manage their cultural differences as promoting their diverse cultures among themselves?
I think each of the individuals have to be willing to compromise. So you need to realize that you're not working together with someone else who comes from your culture. So you need to take a pragmatic approach. That your partner has just as much right as you do to pass on the culture to the children. So you need to work together and realize this is going to be give and take. But it's definitely possible. You don't have to weaken your culture because you're with someone who's not from the same culture.
Let's be practical over here. Do we see it happening?
Yes. Because there's people who are in marriages where they're both from the same culture, yet they failed to teach the children the language. They failed to take the children to the country and make them appreciate the beauty of the place.
Okay.
So being with someone who's from the same culture doesn't necessarily mean that, yes, you're going to make your children understand and value the culture. It's possible whether you are from the same culture or not, in my opinion. Yes, it can be harder, it can be more challenging, but it's possible. And it has to be a conscious effort.
But can you just understand the conflict that the children who are in those community or in that family face?
I think young children love to experience different cultures. They enjoy trying different foods, the challenge of knowing multiple languages is something which will set them apart. I don't think the children will find it a struggle. I think it's more the parents that will find it difficult. So for instance, if they want to make a celebration and one of the parents wants it to be an Indian celebration but the other wants it to be a Nigerian celebration, which is why I mentioned compromise earlier. I think the weight of the issues are going to be on the parents, but the children personally, if it's done right, will benefit from a very rich culture and understanding multiple cultures. And ignorance is usually what can hold people back, but these children are going to have knowledge of more than one culture.
The question we asked, let's go back to the question. I want us to go back to the root, which is our culture being devalued? So great. I'm going to take one thing. We've been looking at the language. We'll come back to the language. Now you were going to talk to me about food. Yes. Tell me a little bit about food within your community, and you as a person, tell me, do you cook at home?
I'm not a big cook. No, I can't lie.
Okay, now you are not a good cook. So
I said I'm not a big cook.
You are not a big cook.
Yeah, okay, I'm probably not that good.
What is the staple food as Yorubans?
I think you know.
Tell me.
You know the staple food.
No, tell me. No, I don't know.
Rice, jollof rice. Come on.
Jollof rice.
You know that.
No, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that. So if it's jollof rice, you're going to just, is that, but rice traditionally is not Yoruba's food.
Yeah, that's one of our big staples, jollof rice. And then we also have pounded yam, we have eba, amala, egusi soup, yam porridge, which is asaro. We have ila, we have puff puff, chin chin. Okay. These are more the snacks.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. If you go to a chief palace, have you ever been to a chief palace?
What, in Nigeria?
Yeah, like Yoruba community.
I knew a chief, yes.
You know chiefs?
Yeah, family.
Now, traditionally, there are certain foods that are cooked. For instance, if traditional marriage is about taking place. Okay, if traditional marriage is taking place in Yoruba, what sort of food do they cook in Nigeria?
The foods I just mentioned.
There should be one or two which should be prominent among them. Quakey, please, if you can call in to help us, that will help.
Nothing's actually springing to mind. I can't think
so
of anything.
For instance, let me give you a classic example. When you come to Ghana, you go to the people of Ewe, the Ewe land. They have things like akpele, which is like a signature food within that community. Right. When you come to Gans, they also have signature food. You come to Akans, they have like fufu and other traditional foods. Now, what I'm trying to find out is, we those of us living over here, one, physically we do not have access to some of those things that allows us to cook some of those foods. We do not. Yep. So practically, we cannot be hard on ourselves that we're losing that part of our culture, because one, we do not have the true ingredients which you have over here to cook those foods. So if in that context, I am not able to teach my son, my daughter, how to prepare those traditional foods, do you blame me?
I don't blame you, but what you can do is, even if you can't physically make it, you can make them aware of the recipe. You don't need the ingredients there for that. And also links back into what I was saying earlier about lack of visits to the original country. When you are there and you do have the ingredients available and accessible, make the meals then. Let them know exactly what it's like to have a meal authentically made.
So you actually spoke about ingredients available. Do we document, or Africans, have we taken the trouble to document ingredients that goes into our foods?
I don't think we've done that collectively.
So that's a big challenge, and that's where we have failed. One big area that we have failed. Because I said we'll come back to how we can come out with solutions that can preserve certain aspects of our culture. And in so doing, those of you who are listening, it presents business opportunity to some of you as well. Because some of this, there's a need. From my experience, from what I now understand, there's a growing number of an army of African and Caribbean youths born and bred in the Western country, and there's a new wave of attempt to reconnect with their roots, the culture-wise, the dancing, whatever. This generation, if you take people from 18 to 35, a lot of them even want to migrate back to Africa. Whereas Africans, those of us in Africa, want to move to UK and Europe. Most people born and bred over there that I know want to move back to Africa to settle.
Myself included.
Yourself included.
Yeah.
Great that you are living testimony to my hypothesis and my research that I have done. And right, so you see that within that family setting, I do not have access to cook. I can't cook akpele properly the way I should cook it over here. And I can't prepare fufu the way I should prepare it if I went in Ghana. You know, a mortar and pestle, that is what we use to pump fufu. That does not mean that we cannot embrace technology
Exactly.
to take away the mortar and pestle. Right? And still get fufu out of blenders, still get fufu out of cassava powder.
Yep.
Are you getting me? That doesn't mean we cannot do it.
I think even if you can't get the exact authentic product, at least attempting and maybe having a semi-authentic product and therefore passing on the knowledge to the children of how the dish is made, what it tastes like, is better than doing nothing at all and saying, oh, the ingredients aren't available.
Yeah, but the first question I ask you is, do we even know the recipes ourselves?
Yes, because I was thinking, even if you can't make it, give them the recipe.
No,
So
if you don't know the recipe, how do you pass on the recipe?
that's what is a very important question, because if you don't know the recipe, how do you pass it on? I don't
When
know.
was the last time you actually prepared a Nigerian dish?
Ooh, about 2 weeks ago. I
Why?
made some
Why
chicken
has it taken you
porridge.
2 weeks?
I don't cook regularly.
You don't cook regularly. So,
No.
So in effect, if I'm a Nigerian, I'm marrying you, it means I'm not going to be eating traditional Nigerian food.
I do like to eat traditional Nigerian food, but I'm not really a big foodie. I'm very happy. I'm actually quite happy most times to just
I'm putting you on the spot.
I know, and I'm just gonna be honest. Most of the time, I can do with just having a very simple meal and going to bed, or maybe even no dinner at all.
And most of them tend to be something that are not traditional.
Yeah, something simple, something like a sandwich.
That's because of the way we live our lives, a fast life.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, I'd be having traditional food very often.
Okay. I am happy you mentioned that word, or you use that word, ideally. So in ideal world, we should be doing things to protect our culture. But the practical aspect of it is that there's pressure on us from all angles. Right? So instead of sitting there and cooking banku and akple, doing proper eba and amala, doing cassava leaf, bitter leaves from what do you call it, for Sierra Leone community, I choose to go to KFC.
It's just down the road. It's easy.
I choose to go to Iceland.
You can put something in the oven. It's done in half an hour.
Okay, you see how easy it is, because EastEnders is coming.
EastEnders.
Are you getting me? Because Coronation Street is on its way. X Factor is about to be shown.
Or you've just got in from work at 10 p.m.
You got
and you're
back
tired.
from work. Big Brother is about showing on the screen. And you want me to go and be in the kitchen and be preparing amala and miss my EastEnders?
After I've been at work all day. No. It's not realistic, is it?
So as a people, we face a grave danger. Because I have always maintained that the last thing we hold as a people, and the last thing we must preserve before our lives become very, very, very difficult, is our culture.
Yeah.
The moment we lose our culture, we should consider ourselves doomed.
I think we're halfway there already, Frank. I'm really concerned. I think our culture has been whitewashed.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you think we're halfway there? Less? More?
I think it's facing a great threat. It's not finished yet, But what we need to do, we need to find a way of reversing the trend, which means we need to start discussing this. We need to raise topics like this. We need to find out how we can put in measures that can safeguard the culture that we're losing.
Yeah.
When
And
we're
having the discussion is the first step. So
That is the first
acknowledging the fact there is an issue.
that is a very, very important first step.
Yeah.
Kickstarting the conversation, we knowing exactly what culture even means. Our traditional ways, we do not value them. You get to Ghana, for instance, and one of the richest materials that we have, kente, I mean, it's now been taken over by Chinese. Because they print it as never before, because the design is unique. Right? Quite recently, Ghana must go back. Ghana must go back. You know Ghana must go back.
Of course.
Have you bought it before?
No, but my mum's got plenty.
Have you used one before?
Yeah, they're so handy.
They are so handy. Have you used one before yourself?
Yeah.
Will you buy it in the shop?
I don't have to. My mum.
How much will you pay for it if they're giving it to you?
I don't actually know how much they're worth.
Do you know Top Shop is selling up for £22 as we speak?
Topshop is selling Ghana Must Go.
Ghana Must Go from Top Shop is £22, and I can show you a picture of it as we speak.
This is where cultural appropriation comes in. So the parts of our culture that we take for granted, that we overlook, we now have the Western culture snatching it from under our noses because we're not even paying attention to it.
Okay.
And they are making profit off it.
All right.
So, for instance, I saw in Debenhams, they now have a braids bar. So braids, twists, hairstyles that Afro-Caribbean girls have been doing from very young, and hairstyle which is associated with our culture is now being used as a sales force for Debenhams. And this braids bar, they're now profiting off parts of our culture.
Okay. And now the Ghana Must Go issue, you know the danger that it faces. Let me just use 1 minute to just illustrate to you. Whatever Top Shop does is patented. Okay? So Top Shop has produced that bag and has actually locked it into its system as part of its design and patent. And therefore, Marks and Spencer cannot reproduce that unless there's a supplier somewhere who is supplying them. But that's not the case. So what it means, therefore, is that as a Ghanaian, as a Nigerian, traditionally we produce those bags, we cannot come and sell them on the European market without being caught or sued. Because now, what we took for granted, what we laughed off, what we did not value, is now and has now been taken by Top Shop. It means Top Shop can go and demonstrate in a court of law that this is their design, this is their patent number, this is their copyright number, this is their design. Meanwhile, they stole it from us. But in case you came, assuming you are my girlfriend, and you came to visit me, or I coming to visit you, and I come with Ghana Must Go, how will you look at me?
I wouldn't judge you for coming to me with a Ghana Must Go.
Is it because we are discussing this topic? Ladies out there, how many of you will not judge me if I come to you, visiting you as my girlfriend, and I'm holding Ghana Must
Boyfriend.
Go? I want to, yes, I'm coming as your boyfriend. Please, I'm not gay, so please, I'll just come to you as your...
No, wait. What have you got in the Ghana Must Go? Obviously, if it's your work bag or something that you're using on a daily basis just to carry your personal belongings, it's a bit iffy.
No, Lola.
But if it's
I am visiting you.
Yeah.
I am coming to you, my girlfriend. I'm coming to pass a week.
Okay, you've got.
I am traveling
luggage.
from Liverpool.
You've got luggage in there.
Coming to you in London.
Yep.
In your Kensington Palace. And when I arrive there, you coming to pick me at the train station, and what you saw me holding is Ghana Must Go. I'm coming to a point, I'm driving something home.
Okay.
Now, how will you perceive me?
I'm going to be completely transparent.
Yeah.
I think if this was a first meeting and I didn't know you, I might think in my head, oh, Ghana Must Go. But I think if I know you, we've been together for a while, and I understand that you've got your luggage in there for a week, then it's nothing. But if I was going on a first date with somebody and they were carrying a Ghana Must Go, I would be thinking, this is not very appropriate for the occasion. I think it just, if you put it into context, you're traveling, you're here for a week, you've put your belongings in a Ghana Must Go bag, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, ladies out there, I'm pleading with you. Assuming your boyfriend comes to visit you at first, coming to spend 1 week, you want to introduce him to your parents, and then he comes, walk through your door, and your mom turns and look at him, and he's holding Ghana Must Go. Assuming Lola arrives, you are in Nigeria, you listen to us. Lola arrives, you met her on the dating site, she arrives in Nigeria, you pick her at Lagos airport, and then the luggage she has are all packed in Ghana Must Go. What will be your honest opinion? You might not say it, but go deep down you and tell me what you'll be. Laura, do you know one thing why I'm saying this? A lot of things are happening. We are devaluing our culture because our own perception and lack of respect for what we have.
So what the oppressors have managed to do is they've destroyed our pride. They've destroyed our inner confidence, and we now feel that accepting what is part of their culture is what is cool, is what's in vogue, it's what's right. And we look down.
You're getting where I'm getting to now, where I want to. So it is, although we're talking about this as very small things,
it all adds up.
It all adds up, and it has to do with the way we think as a people, the way we perceived ourselves, the way we respect what we have, and the way we carry ourselves. The way we actually form opinions and judge people based on what we perceive to be right or wrong, what we perceive to be cool and uncool, what we perceive to be appropriate and inappropriate.
And that's what we ourselves are doing to each other. Fellow Africans, fellow Caribbeans are doing that to each other, not the other cultures. We as a culture amongst ourselves are tearing ourselves down.
I am going to come to a very important point. I'm going to give you another classic example.
Sorry, before we quickly move on to the next example, this Ghana Must Go bag is available in Topshop for £22.
I'm going to show it. I'm going to show it to our listeners.
I'd like to see it.
I'll show it to you, and before we go on break, I'm going to show it to our listeners. And I'm not joking. It's sold £22 in Topshop.
It's interesting you're saying this because I came across an article a few days ago. KLM, I believe, one airline has banned Ghana Must Go bags from their flights.
Why?
I think it was to reduce excess baggage, but
because they think it carries a lot of luggage.
They've caught on to the trick.
So I'm going to try and show it before we finish this program. I know I have it. I know even this morning I made use of it. I sent it to someone. And you know what? Let me be honest with you. We've contacted some lawyers, and this is going to be an international nuisance case.
Good. Because I don't see
we've
why...
contacted some lawyers. This is going to be an international nuisance case.
But you know, on the flip side, what we can say is Topshop have every right to do this. This is not something that an African thought to themselves, let me make this and patent it myself. Someone from outside our own culture had to do that with something that is from our culture for us to wake up. So, is that the way it should be?
Well, that shouldn't be the case. But again, let me give you another classic example. Then we take a quick break. We were talking about food, and I was asking a few questions about.
My stomach is grumbling.
Okay. Don't worry. I'll get you some food. Don't worry when we finish. Traditional food, no problem. Now, again, let me come to you, ladies. The ladies out there listening to me.
Yes.
I give a classic example of a community I know and know very best. When I was at Legon, that's the university, the premier university in Ghana, it got to a point when you want to take a girl out on a date, what they ask for, you ask them choose a restaurant. Most of them, 7 out of 10 will choose a restaurant that came to open called Papaya. And what they were serving was fried rice and chicken. Okay, That seems to be the trend and the cool way of taking a girl out. In this country, let us not even run away from it, because in this country ourselves, we face a big challenge. When was the last time you saw a Chinese in an African restaurant? The only time I've seen a Chinese in an African restaurant is when they are selling DVD. When they are selling those their DVDs, they call it, because they cannot pronounce it properly, they call it DVD.
Right. I was thinking
DVD. They call it DVD.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting that we're so well experienced with eating Chinese food, going for an Indian takeaway.
Okay. So if we want to organize parties, you want to take a girl out, you want to have a lunch, where do we go to?
805. Great Nigerian food there.
Okay, great
Very
Nigerian,
authentic,
fine.
very nice.
But on a practical level, most of us go to Chinese.
I mean, I wouldn't go to a Chinese for my first date.
You wouldn't go to Chinese for your first date?
No.
When was the last time you bought Chinese food?
Probably a few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago?
I do like a Chinese takeaway, I can't lie. But if you think about it, how many Nigerian takeaways do we have around? Chinese takeaways are so readily available. In Vauxhall, where I'm located, there is no Nigerian takeaway option for me.
Great.
I can't just go into a shop and buy. Okay. And Chinese takeaways are relatively cheap as well. I can't just go somewhere and get a nice, cheap African takeaway.
Okay.
It's not possible.
So now we're talking about food. So one way or the other, you see the problem we face when it comes to food. One, we don't have them available. We are in a fast economy. When you go to a Nigerian Ghanaian restaurant, be prepared to spend 30 minutes, which most of us do not have to spare, unless we want to go and sit there and relax.
Yep.
Be prepared for even the person serving you to be rude, some of them.
Yeah, customer service isn't great. That's another thing I think we should touch on another later
okay.
topic. Yeah.
So we're now looking at the second aspect of we're talking about. Let's remind our listeners again. We are looking at the issue of
food.
We are looking at the whole topic is about our culture being devalued.
Yep.
And we've looked at language briefly.
Yep.
We've looked and we are now looking at food, and we're just trying to explore different ways how we're impacting, because if food forms parts of our culture, we're just looking at pressures that are coming on our food.
Have you got any questions in relation to the food focus?
Have we got any questions? Not yet. It's only that someone is sending us a message, but we come back to the person in a jiffy. Now let's go. So what I'm trying to illustrate here is that although we know what the problem is, we're not helping ourselves as a community. We are not helping ourselves as a community, because if we need to start reversing some of this, and then how do we use modernity to be able to process our food, package them in such a way that it fits well into our lifestyle? If we can't do that, then we face a big danger. Then we face a big danger. Okay, how do we modify our cooking methods such that when I walk into a Ghanaian restaurant or a Nigerian restaurant, I do not spend 45 minutes waiting for food?
Yep.
You understanding where I'm coming from? So in my view, I think that's what we should be thinking.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm really struggling to think of fast solutions. This isn't something that can be overcome over a short period of time.
We can research, can't we?
Yeah. So what we need is we're having these long periods of waiting. So for instance, you go into a restaurant, you're waiting 30 to 45 minutes because we haven't got enough. Chinese takeaways are dotted all over the place.
Right.
Asian restaurants
so we need more
with Indian food.
So we need more food entrepreneurs. So I call food.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So we need more of them, right?
Yeah, number one, we need more. We also need better marketing. So, for instance, I'm in Vauxhall and I'm saying there aren't any. For all I know, maybe there is a small independent chain which isn't well advertised, which isn't well marketed. So again, that's just
which now becomes a business opportunity for our community.
Yes.
That people who are listening or are interested can identify vulture areas, a niche area that there are Africans and Caribbean that are over there and do not have. I tell you one great restaurant that I know in that area, Kennington, is an Eritrean restaurant. And when you look on the list of the top restaurants in London, you find Adolis in number 1 to 20. They have their own food, they have their own rate. Eritrean, one of the finest African restaurants I've been.
Sounds nice. Yeah, so more restaurants, more awareness, and also just a willingness as well to explore and try different African foods. So just because I'm from Nigeria, I shouldn't not be open to trying Eritrean food, that place you've mentioned, Ghanaian food, South African food. Let's promote restaurants from within our continent. Let's reduce the Chinese takeaway, the Indian takeaway. There's nothing wrong with eating those foods, but when is the last time, as you said, rightly so, that you saw a Chinese person sat in an African restaurant?
You don't see them. Okay. So,
when did you last see an Indian person in an African restaurant?
No, they don't.
When did you last see a Lebanese or Arab person in an African restaurant?
I haven't.
But we will go to Arab and Lebanese restaurants. We'll go to the Indian restaurants.
Good. So that is one aspect. I don't want us to jump to the economic aspect of things, high impact on our economy. We'll talk about that another day. The other thing that we face is greed, the challenge of greed. And I'm going to come to why I say greed. You see, if you take Ghana fufu powder, we're talking about how we can use technology, modernity, modify the way we cook our food to be able to make it easily accessible, readily accessible, to fit into our way of life. Yes, we take cassava and yam, you plantain, mankini, and what cocoyam, as you call it, to prepare fufu. But they can turn that, and they have actually succeeded in turning into powder, and you can actually, instead of going to peel cassava and other, you can just use hot water, just like couscous, and then you're able to prepare something out of your grist mill. You're similar to that. But practical example, I went to buy this. I'm not going to mention the brand.
Okay.
I went and bought one. When I opened it up, guess what? It has been polluted, adulterated with color. And when you pour it, you can physically see that what they were selling as cassava powder, or what they call plantain powder, has been laced with color. Okay, so do you want me to go and buy it again? We got a lot of work to do, you know.
We do. We need. It's a long way to go. Greed, absolute greed.
So you see, our time is going. We only look at two aspects: food and this. And I told you this topic. Now let's go for a quick commercial break. And I promise you, when we come back, we're going to show that Ghana must go back.
Yes, I want to see it.
Yes, I'm going to show listeners the Ghana must go back and the price tag on it. It's scary. When I saw it, I was like, wow. We are going somewhere. But anyway, let's take this commercial break and we'll be right back.
Rejection, loss, or fear. Who have you become in life? Do you want to know how to love again? Shattered Dreams, Broken Promises is a life-changing introductory seminar which will help you answer these questions and more on the 19th of August in London. You'll gain revelation, clarity, and freedom to move your life forward. Book now at shatteredandbroken.eventbrite.com for Shattered Dreams, Broken Promises Introductory Seminar. That's shatteredandbroken.eventbrite.com on the 19th of August in London. A life-changing seminar. Are you...
I was in a tunnel and couldn't see the light.
Oh, nah, not again, not again. I've been duped.
Hello, Kweku. How long will you continue to fall for these unscrupulous landowners? This is the second time, huh? Do you want a hassle-free, litigation-free life when it comes to owning a property in Ghana? Look no further. Royal Valley Estates, RVE, is your answer. RVE is located at Bawaleshi near Valley View University on the Adenta to Dodowa Highway, Accra, Ghana. RVE is a gated community with 24-hour security. 300 houses will be constructed at RVE, comprising of 3-bedroom, semi-detached and 3-bedroom detached houses. The plot sizes at RVE are generous. Mortgages and flexible payment options available to qualified applicants. Rush now and own a house in Ghana. For more information, contact Pastor Joe Kissinger Anochi on 0790-479-3019. You can also contact Reverend Francis Nunu on 0744-049-4271 and also on 0744-8054-930. You can also email him at fs.nunu@gmail.com. You can also visit us at www.royalvalleyestates.gh.com. RVE, a place you can call home.
I can feel heaven over me. I believe in the risen one. I believe I overcome.
My Journey, your one-stop destination to the supernatural on Starr Radio UK. What's the hidden truth or mysteries behind the supernatural? Do angels exist? Is healing and miracles for today? Can I hear the voice of God? What's the secret to their success in ministry or calling? Can my eyes be open to see beyond the natural? Can I operate in the gifts of the Holy Spirit? My Journey is your one-stop destination to the supernatural on Starr Radio UK. Join your host, Captain Tete, at 4 p.m. on My Journey, your one-stop destination to the supernatural.
I was covered in sin and shame. Mama, please stop crying.
Listen to Aunties Mary, Lottie and Regina on the Family Enrichment Programme on Starr Radio UK. This and every Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m.
Some people are wicked because don't make it your business going about revealing that
Don't be a busybody.
And some people.
Today's typical family is under pressure from various directions. Divorce is on the increase. More and more of the Afro-Caribbean youth are taking to crime, etc. The Family Enrichment Program brings together a team of qualified experts to discuss and shed light on how we can make our families better and stronger. It is said the family can do without the society, but the society can't. Listen to the Family Enrichment Program this and every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Starr Radio UK, your favourite Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
The Lord is near. Build him a temple here.
A palace of praise, a throne of thanksgiving, made for the King of Kings.
Bible Life Family Ministries welcomes you to A Night in His Presence on Saturday the 29th of July at the Dream Centre, 68 Windmill Road, Croydon, CR02XP. Come and join us as we praise and worship with Palace of Praise, Pastor Emmanuel King, Minister Wisdom, Kwamina Ahoy, and many more. See you there. This event is sponsored by Starr Radio UK, your favourite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Bed of Roses, Bed of Roses, Bed of Roses. Voices of Esther brings you Bed of Roses this and every Saturday at 9:30 p.m. Join our panel of experts to discuss issues within your relationships. Hosted by Doreen, you will be motivated and equipped to handle issues within your relationships. Remember, it is Saturday at 9:30 p.m. GMT. Don't miss it.
I'll lay you down on a bed.
Right, my favorite South African music. Someone was asking me, is my dad is South African? I say yes, because I'm an African.
Right.
Whether south, north, east, west, I am an African, and truly so, and I'm proud to be an African. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Anyway, who am I trading it? Then nobody's worth it in a way. Okay, let's proceed. Listeners, you tune in to Star Radio. My name is Frank Davis, and this evening we're looking at a very important subject. And the question we're posing is our culture losing, or is our culture being devalued? And I have with me Lola, who is my special guest and co-host on the show today. Pretty shortly, you'll be seeing her often over here, pioneering, pushing, asking the difficult questions that Star Radio, and bringing you the interesting conversations that we are noted for. Content defines radio, and when it comes to content, we try to bring you the very best, and we only do not put programs over there to make you noise. No, we bring you programs that will educate, entertain, and again protect and safeguard our community. This is a community radio, and we're here to serve your interest. If you'd like to join the conversation, it's 02081332257, 02081332257 or 58. From US or Canada is 718-303-2737. I take that again. It's 718-303-2737. That applies to all the Caribbean, especially the Jamaica. If you call that number, it's toll-free number, and we can pick it out over here. For those of you who might want to send out WhatsApp messages, I got a few which I'll be reading pretty shortly. You can get on 007539661744. I take that again. It's 00447536 39667455. Our email is info@starradio.com. And please, if you don't have our app, please, you can actually download our app, and you can even send us a voice note via our app. You press a button, you speak whatever conversation you want to have, a message or contribution. You press a button on our app, and then you release it, send it, and it comes onto our console, and we can play it back live for our listeners, of course, after it has been listened to and edited, so that we do not play any abusive language out there. We take our corporate social responsibility seriously, and parties it to be very responsible broadcast in a media company, and that's what we will do. So thank you very much, Lola. We're back, and before we went, we were looking at the issue of food. If you just remind us where we were again before we proceed. Like we said, we're not going to be able to absorb, we're not going to be able to finish all this, but we will try and tackle it a little bit, and next week we will continue. So just do a bit of recap where we were, the exact point where we were before we go.
Of course. So for anyone who's just joined recently, we've gone through aspects which we think are being lost within our culture and are being devalued. We started off with language and the issue of children not being taught the language from young ages, and then as they grow up they have completely lost the ability to speak the language, write the language, read the language, and of passing that on to the next generation is no longer an option. And then we looked at food, and we looked at how regularly we are eating our traditional food, whether or not we're opting to go for different cultures' food rather than our own, and also the accessibility of being able to create these authentic dishes. And we touched upon the Ghana Must Go bag, which is now available in Topshop for £22,
okay,
if anyone wants it.
Okay, All right, that's fine. On that note, we talk about top shop. On that note, listeners, we promise you, and when we promise, we deliver. That is one thing that we want to live with people. We promise and we deliver. I'm going to just, for those of you on YouTube and those of you on Facebook, on our screen, the next minute is going to be the Top Shop bag. Laura, yes, Laura, if you come round, please come round. You are off camera, so you can come round.
Right.
No, come round. Come and see what the listeners are saying. I've just uploaded in a short. The Ghana must go back. It sounds funny, isn't it? Yeah. What can you see there? That's a Top Shop label that is on it with a barcode 24W06MBLK. For those of you listening to us, if you're on Top Shop website now, you can type in that barcode, or you can type the product code is 24W06MBLK. You should be able to 00. You should be able to see it, and it's $40, €29, £22.
Unbelievable.
You don't believe it, right? All right, let's take a seat and continue. So, listeners, that's Ghana must go for you. That is being sold at Top Shop. Well, when we promise, we deliver. So
we do.
That is just a proof to show you that what we do not value, others are valuing it. And I brought an example of how even girlfriend, boyfriends, how we will, look at each other, assuming someone arrives at your doorstep with Ghana must go. Suitcases, how much are they? So you go to Bristol Market, you can get a briefcase for £15. What we are saying eventually is that in this country today, officially from Top Shop, Ghana must go is more expensive than the briefcase. But you see, because our mindset, if I arrive at your doorstep with a briefcase and I arrive at your doorstep of Ghana must go, your judgment of me, if you don't know me, well, will be different. You might look at, what is this guy all about with Ghana must go? The same thing that happens to our food. We quick going to Hong Kong City when we go holding parties, okay, to go and blow on spare ribs, to go and blow on what you call it, Chinese
special
food,
fried rice,
instead of going to Amala and Eba. Are you getting me? You want to take a girl out, you take them to what you call Asafo to go and eat banku. They're not going to be happy, you know.
Aren't they?
They want you to take them to Hong Kong City.
No. We can't generalize like that.
We can't generalize, so we have some exceptions. Okay.
No exceptions. If we took a survey, we don't know what the result could be. It could be very even.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to give ourselves assignments. You're going to ask 20 people before next week, your friends, and we're going to demonstrate with WhatsApp messages. So Chinese or African restaurant. Then we'll see what they say.
Yeah, sure. You do the same as well.
I'll
the
do
same
the same
exercise,
as well.
And then that way we can compare between older and younger. And
Yeah,
see if
we'll
there's
be able to
trend.
do a bit of what they call age difference and see where the trend is going.
Yeah.
Okay. The next aspect that we're going to be looking at, before we go to the next aspect, let me just bring in. We said we're going to look at a bit of solutions. Now, we didn't talk about solutions when it came to food and when it came to our language.
Are we doing those all at the
a
end?
bit of let's just do a bit about 5 minutes and we bounce our ideas off. One thing that I think we can do is to encourage documentation of our culture. So for instance, even though Yoruba, Igbo is not being taught at schools, if I have access to audio versions, animations, okay, animations, audio versions, it's been written down, I might be able to educate or help do home tuition, teach my kids.
Of course.
But we do not have them. Because if I ask you today, where can I get a book about Yoruba to buy?
There are actually, I'm not sure about books, but in terms of audiobooks and apps, which can help to teach the language, they
That-
were all on phones.
There are now apps.
Smart devices that we're using, iPads,
Okay.
phones, tablets, is very easily accessible. There
So
are apps
now
that are designed.
if those are accessible, we now have to encourage people to access them. They should start using them.
People need to know that they're
That is
there.
starting point.
Yeah.
That is what they can do individually from their homes.
And I think also though there has to be that willingness to want to make the effort.
Yeah.
So I think what can happen is a lot of people think, oh, well, it's easier. They're
Yes,
going to learn English. They're going to learn English at school. Let's just speak
Right.
it here.
I'm receiving a call from Madam Susan, but I'm not going to pick it now because I'm on air. When I finish, I'll call her back. Now, let's proceed. We're talking about how we can promote and preserve those things. And we're talking about apps now being developed with smart. I love the idea. And we want to
Yoruba
encourage.
Alphabet for children. So many different apps designed specifically for children.
Yeah, you know Harry Potter. You know the way he's made so much money.
I love Harry Potter.
You love Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'm a big
Do
fan.
you know that within the Ghanaian community, we have one of the greatest stories or one of the greatest characters that if you compare to Harry Potter is no close 10% to it.
What story is that?
You know,
Harry Potter's a very good story.
Anansi.
No.
Have you heard of Anansi?
No.
Spider in Ghanaian is called in a tree is called Anansi, right?
Right.
That's a legend. It has different stories around it, and we had an animator in the studio today. It's a conversation we're going to have with him. If we can begin turning the Anansi character into different stories, so that we do not, because those stories taught us, I recall by the fireside and all that, they taught us valuable lessons that we cannot have access to today. But if we can use technology to preserve some of those things, tell some of those stories, because if I have my daughter and my son and I pass an Anansi story to him, he might be able to follow it rather than following Caillou.
Of course.
Sinbad.
Let's have
Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig.
Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So, to a large extent, for those of you who have grown up over here, you see the business opportunity that you have. Because there's gold back home. In terms of our culture aspect of it that we can monetize and sell to a growing population of Africans over here.
Yes.
That's the next phase of business that we need to explore.
And it's the solution to that language gap, which is starting to get wider and wider.
That is it.
Yeah.
So once we're looking at the problems, my proposition that let's not concentrate too much on the problems alone, but for each problem that we identify, let's explore
Solutions.
the 10 options that we can use to combat and be able to reverse that the trend of devaluation of or devaluing of our culture.
Damage limitation.
That
Some
is
of the
it.
damage has already been done, but we can definitely prevent the damage from spreading any further, and we can improve the situation.
Okay. Let me come to you on the food. What are some of the solutions that you think we can introduce to be able to reverse the trend that we're witnessing now, where
we need to be more supportive of food and what was the word that you used earlier? Food entrepreneurs.
food entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So some of us will know friends, family, acquaintances who own these businesses. Please promote their business. Let others be aware that there are restaurants, chains which are offering authentic African food, because I think that's the biggest problem at the moment. Lack of awareness and lack of availability. So KFC's down the road, but you can't see an African takeaway down the road, so you're going to KFC. So if we're more aware of food entrepreneurs, and also we need more restaurants, we need more food entrepreneurs as well, but the ones that are already existing, we need to spread the knowledge about them. So please promote, which leads to, you know, the fact that we don't always self-promote ourselves. Other communities, the Asian community, they're very, very strong and supportive of each other. So we just need to do the same. Please make people aware of any African restaurants that you know of.
Do we have a website that has a catalog of all African restaurants?
I doubt it. I don't know of one if we do.
Okay. So it's an area that someone can also look into.
Yeah.
We have, if you go to eat.co.uk, you're able to get, we have some African foods and restaurants sign on to.
Yeah,
can we have a network, I mean, where we know African foods?
So, for instance, on Just Eat, when you go on there, you can filter by the type of cuisine. So you can filter for Oriental, you can filter for Indian. I think you can even filter for Polish. But as far as I'm aware, you can't filter for African.
Now you can filter for a few. I've seen a few African foods over there.
Have they got their own specific category where you can filter it by that?
No. You don't. I mean, the filters do not. I mean,
yeah.
So it's an area that people can actually look into as well, because that way we are able to start reversing the trend. And when you look at when the young ones goes to school on break, when they have their £1 and £2, what they buy, chicken and chips, the Pakistanis, the Indians, the Asian food. So basically, I said I don't want to place. I'm not going to go there. I don't want to go to the economics of it. I have made it a policy, and I made a resolution, and for those who are very close to me, I don't go to. I've made it a policy. Hardly will you see me in a Chinese restaurant now.
Okay. I mean, it does taste good, and I'm not exactly thinking that the solution here
I'll
is
cook it myself in the house.
I don't think the solution is to boycott these places. However, I do think we need to reduce and start favouring our own restaurants.
I've made a conscious. I've taken a bold decision. I don't visit them again because can you imagine Singapore fried rice? You go to 10 restaurants, the same Singapore fried rice have different color. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, there's variations.
Variation of Singapore fried rice.
Yeah.
Which one?
Which one do I like?
Okay. No, Singapore fried rice. It's supposed to be Singapore fried rice. If I'm eating amala, I know I'm eating amala. If I'm eating eba, I'm eating eba.
But that's like jollof rice. Like if you're eating jollof rice, there are going to be variations in terms
Not
of colour, the type of
rice,
the spice.
But
there are quite a few
jollof rice, the colour will be similar.
Yeah, sometimes it's darker than others. Sometimes
but when you're eating Singapore fried rice, some are yellow, some are red, some are I mean
very big variations. Right.
Yeah. Okay, let's move to our next thing. Which will be the final thing we'll look at today. We'll come to look at other aspects in the future. You were talking about entertainment. Okay.
Yes.
Now go on entertainment. Let's hear you.
So I think it's crucial that we appreciate and celebrate our entertainment industry, fashion, music, TV. Globally, everyone is aware of Hollywood and Western entertainment, but we need to also focus our attentions on the entertainment which derives from Africa. So in Nigeria we have Nollywood, which is actually the second largest grossing film industry after Hollywood. We've even superseded Bollywood now. Very proud of that. Afrobeats is booming actually, so we have plenty of Afrobeat stars renowned internationally. And fashion, I see more and more people my age proud and keen to be dressed in African attire, traditional African attire. So I think in terms of entertainment, it may not be exactly where it should be, but compared to food and language, it's definitely miles ahead. So a lot of Africans within the age bracket we're focusing on, they do actually enjoy embracing the entertainment side.
But there are a few things I think that we need to work on within the entertainment industry. One, if you look at most black and African artists, when they mount that stage to perform, most of the attires they wear are either NYC, NYK, New York, whatever.
American style, plenty of gold bling bling chains.
Why?
Oversized tee.
One thing I've also not come to understand, I don't want to question it, but I just didn't understand it. Why Nollywood? Why wood?
So replicating what Hollywood had done, as if Hollywood
mustn't necessarily be wood.
Yeah.
And in Ghana now we have Gale wood.
Oh, you have Gollywood? I didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
about
we
it.
have Gollywood.
It's not very popular then, is it?
It's not growing up. So the question I ask, why would?
Why do we need to copy
Well,
what the Western world did? Why can't we create our own completely unique?
Honestly, I'm not questioning. I think marketing-wise,
It was a good idea.
It was a very good and smart idea, because the Hollywood is already there. It means that identification. Hollywood is a movie industry. Nollywood definitely will be especially Bollywood is also a movie industry, and therefore Gollywood can be. So Zimwood, we're going to have Zimwood, Sierra Leone Wood, or how do we call it?
Sollywood.
Or Sollywood, okay. And then Somalia Wood, or how do you call it? So Ethiopia Wood, Tio Wood.
So yeah, some of them aren't going to work, are they?
Okay, Liberia.
Lollywood.
Okay. Now help me out. Let me mention the country there. Cameroon.
Collywood.
Cameroon is not Colio, it's Cameroon.
It's a C.
No,
you're not gonna say what Sollywood, because if you say Sollywood, then it sounds like the S. So it's gonna have to be like a hard C.
Okay, Congo.
Collywood as well.
Okay, Zimbabwe.
Zollywood.
Zaire. Kenya.
Keywood.
Tanzania.
Tollywood.
Togo.
Yeah. Not gonna work, is it?
It's not going to work too much. So I think some of this, and when we are copying, we need to look at how we preserve our culture as well. So one thing, like I told you, is about the attire they wear. I have not come to an understanding.
So do you think Wizkid, when performing on stage, should be wearing traditional African, Nigerian?
Listen, even if not traditional African, listen, I do not get it why you should be promoting New York when you can promote Lagos. Why don't you sew something and on top of it you have Lagos? Niger.
Even if you're not fully kitted out in traditional
That is it.
wear. Yeah.
Niger.
Yeah.
Why New York? Make America great again. They are making it great. How can we make? Because some of these artists are the flag and the torch bearers for the future generation.
And the significance of someone such as Wizkid wearing something that promotes Lagos. The amount
Can
of,
you just imagine?
of people that would want
People want to know why that mom, dad, Lagos, where is that? Even if he happens to use the word, what the hell? Excuse my language. The parent will be able to say, oh, Lagos is a beautiful city in that African country called Nigeria. Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, Harare. Why on earth do they continue to wear New York, USA? What for?
I don't know the rationale behind it. I think because perhaps those are the more expensive items, and they want to be able to show that they can afford the most expensive
That brings me back to our major problem that we have as a society. And probably that is the angle we're going to conclude on. That if we do not change our mindset, and if we do not begin to respect our own, and if we do not begin to respect what we have and be proud of ourselves. Listen, we spend money buying Nike trainers just because we want to feel cool. We want to show off. We want to be among our peers. We want to show that we have arrived.
Yep.
Are you getting me? And mentally, psychologically, you do not. I'm not saying don't go and buy things that makes you cool, but the idea and the motive behind some of these purchases. A 12-year-old boy want to get Nike because he want to feel cool.
Frank, it's actually worse nowadays. I want to get a pair of shoes called Balenciagas, which are extreme.
Which one?
Balenciagas. They're not looking for Adidas and Nike anymore.
Balenciaga. Which animal is that? I'm out of fashion, you know.
Balenciagas, Frank. That's what's in vogue now. And those shoes are so expensive. We're talking about £300. Young children thinking that's what they need to wear to be cool.
Okay. So you then understand that it starts from the mindset. And it starts from the fact that we are not being educated by our parents at home.
To embrace
our culture, you see, we hate our own color. To the extent that we do not and are not proud of what we have and who we are.
Do we hate our own color, Frank?
To the largest, if not, we'll start appreciating what we have amongst us.
That's a very bold statement, Frank.
Yeah.
I don't think we hate our own colour. I think we live in a society where the African attire, the African fashion industry is not at the forefront. So even in other cultures, which are, I think, upholding their value and culture more than we are, so for instance the Chinese, you see them in designer wear. They've got Nike, they've got Adidas, they've got Gucci. So I don't think it's necessarily to do with hating the colour of our skin. I think it's just a case of these are the brands that have that strong recognition, the brands that have built up a following over the years.
And want to be looking cool in those brands.
Yes. So ultimately what we need to do is we need to try and create African brands which are on the same scale.
Which can be cool.
Yeah, which are seen as cool
Which
and
can be
seen as in
smart.
vogue. Yes, and what people are aiming to
But
buy.
one appeal I'm going to make to our viewers and our listeners this evening is that, please, for those of you, especially the artists, the musicians, the media forces, and all those people out there who are championing the culture of Africa in your various industries, be it music, be it the film industry, my appeal to you is, can you start promoting more of Africa? If Wizkid mounts a stage, can we see you wearing something that says Niger, Lagos, Zamfara State, Abeokuta, Benin City? Can we have that?
It would reach so many people, thousands, millions.
You get what I'm talking about? So I think we still got a long way to go, but we'll get there.
We do. Yeah.
No, I believe we'll get there, but we need to start with the conversation, and we need to start talking. And I believe nothing that ever came to be without a word.
No.
And everything that we do must start with the word.
Of course. I'd like to finish off on a quote, which I think will bring to life just how much the culture that's been stripped away from us was done deliberately.
Yes. If you read that for us.
Yeah.
Hold on. Listeners, what she's about reading, in my view, is one of the most fundamental fundamental ground schemes that set in motion some of the problems we face today and what we're talking about today.
Yep.
It has to do with a grand design that was orchestrated as far back as 1872, I think, if I'm right. 1835. Where arrangements were made, and they recognized at that point in time that one thing that we do have strong is our culture, and until they take away that aspect from us, there's no way they're going to be able to break us down. And to a large extent, they've come that far, but we can start reversing that trend now. Lola, please, if you read it.
So as early as 1835, the plot to strip us of our culture had begun. Lord Macaulay's address to the British Parliament was, "I have travelled across the length and breadth of Africa, and I have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Such wealth I've seen in this country, such high moral values, people of such calibre that I do not think we could ever conquer this country, unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage. And therefore I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system, her culture, for if the Africans think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem, their native culture, and they will become what we want them, a truly dominated nation."
Okay, let's say I'll try something twice, once is good. So what I'm going to ask you to do is take it slowly for me and go over it again.
Right. Take two. Lord Macaulay's address to the British Parliament.
So this is a British MP addressing the House of Parliament in 1835 after his expedition across the Africa continent. So Lola, go on.
Okay. "I have travelled across the length and breadth of Africa, and I have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Wealth I've seen in this country, such high moral values, people of such calibre, that I do not think we could ever conquer this country unless you break the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage, and therefore I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system, her culture, for if the Africans think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem, their native culture, and they will become what we want them, a truly dominated nation.
Was he a prophet?
Well, he was a psychic, Frank, because that's what's happening.
Because we have lost our self-esteem.
We have lost
I would
our
like to say
culture.
big thank you to Na Owusu, Olaimekweke, Abina Bera, and the lovely Na Koshi all the way in Ghana. And to all of you who have been watching and following us over on Facebook, over 4,000 of you are actually following the conversation. Please keep the conversation going. Lola, your last words, and if you like to say, your friend at Nottingham, what's her name?
What, Laura?
She's Laura.
Yeah, she's Laura. I'm Lola.
Okay, so she's Laura. Hi, I know you following us.
Hey,
How
Laura.
are you? Okay, right. So your last words.
I'm really happy that we started off this topic, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to exploring it in further detail next week. It's a really important topic and one that we need to embrace and start working towards solutions. So this isn't problem orientated. We recognize the problem, but the main focus is these solutions that we are identifying, making sure that we implement them, because this can be solved. It's not something that we have to just accept and have a sense of resignation over. We can get over this and overcome it. It will be difficult, it will be challenging and time consuming, but it's something we must do if we do want our culture to remain important.
Is there anyone out there you want to say hello to?
Just Laura. Hey.
Laura entertained you over the weekend, so I know. Yes, listeners, all too soon. This is how we bring the program to an end. It's been me, Fran Davis, and Laura. And Lola, not Laura. When you have Lola and Laura, you sometimes tend to miss them. More so when they are very good friends. So this evening we've just been exploring how and the extent to which our culture is being devalued. We've looked briefly, not exhaustively, at what I call the language aspect. And we've also touched briefly about the food, the entertainment industry. And I do believe we're going to continue this conversation. But in your own community, in your own home, my appeal to you, and I appeal to you this evening to keep the conversation going. If there's anything that we do not have to lose and we have to, the last thing we're gonna do before our last breath is taken away from us, it should be our culture. And I do believe that the very last day we lose our identity and our culture, that will be the day we cease to exist as a people. On that note, listeners, I leave you with these beautiful songs from my own country, South Africa. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Tula, tula.